boom, it's the decider. So here we are with yeOldDogg in the top right corner, and in the bottom left corner it is Jesper, the Protoss player. I'm glad we're not on Green Acres, because, you know, variety's the spice of life and all that, but this, the probably, to be honest, the second favourite map in our novice league. A much smaller map. It is a 1v1 map, but does have sort of equally accessible natural expansion, with access to certainly another one expansion relatively easily. Fourth and fifth expansion's a little bit harder to hold, but I don't think we'll see the game go that far, to be honest. So what are these players going to do? yeOldDogg, you know, this presumably they're grooming like monkeys too. This SCV is just picking the fleas out of this one's fur. And yeOldDogg throwing down racks and two supply depots at the front door in order to prevent anything from coming up the ramp and coming in to have a look around. Jesper, for his part, doesn't seem to have any intentions to go for a look around. Drops 2 gas, so are we going to see workers go into those, because that is pretty early to have double gas. To be honest, if I was to scout this and see a Protoss with 2 gas this early, you know, before the gateway's finished, before the side core's done, I'd probably be thinking to myself, well, this looks nasty. This is probably going to be maybe DTs, because they're very gas heavy. It's about the only thing that I can think of that you need to take both gas geysers so early for. So, you know, I wonder if that is what Jesper has in mind here. We will soon see. So the side core comes down, 2 pylons at the top of the ramp, and presumably when the side core is finished we'll see a mothership core be built, and it'll position itself somewhere here so that it can overcharge these pylons in a sort of defensive position. yeOldDogg looks like it's going to be a similar build to the ones that we've had previously, with sort of 5 racks going into some other stuff, and you know, that can be very don't get me wrong, that can be an absolutely devastating build. You know, 5 racks early in the game means that you can produce marines very, very quickly indeed, and you can get a lot of hurt done. If nothing else, you can pin your opponent back. I guess the important thing with that build is to know when you arrive with your marines whether or not it's going to work, and if you see that it isn't going to work, don't then simply sacrifice your marines. You know, think about setting them up in a defensive position down here so that it's very hard for your opponent to come down the ramp and expand yourself. You know, try and force your opponent to stay on one base while you expand up, or something like that. The other thing worth mentioning, you know, too often we see players that go for a large number of barracks, just kind of hold down the A button, barracks always working, and don't really bother to upgrade these marines. And you know, if nothing else, combat shield is absolutely critical. If we look at a marine, 45 health, combat shield gives a marine an extra 10 health. You know, so that is a massive increase. What is that, like 20 something percent? Significant. If only I was, like, you know, really good at maths or something, I could work out the percentage. You know, so it is a worthwhile upgrade. It makes a big difference to the value that you can get from your units. Stim, equally important. Just, you know, increases the damage output from them so substantially that I just can't imagine playing Terran and not simply automatically getting those upgrades as early as I can afford to do so, really. No matter what sort of build I'm playing. If I'm playing an absolute, you know, balls to the wall marine rush, I'll probably forego Stim, but combat shield I'll definitely have at. Stim takes a long time to research, combat shield not so much. So, you know, well worth just pausing marine production for a second to build a tech lab onto one of these barracks. You know, the time it takes to build the tech lab probably means that you'll be 1 or 2 marines shy, but like, what would you rather have? This many marines or this many -2, but all of the marines have 10 extra health? You know, it's a no-brainer for skilled mathematicians. Okay, this is the Oracle of Doom, and off it flies across the map. I'm just going to be lazy and put it on, follow mode, largely because I'm just fixing myself a drink here. If I'm a bit slack with the casting tonight, it's Ed's fault. Just make that clear at this stage. It's his fault that I was in the pub after work. So yeah, already this Oracle is just doing devastating damage. How do you defend against this? If you're a Terran, what do you do when an Oracle turns up? I'll tell you what you do. Run. Oracles cannot shoot whilst moving. They cannot. So what you do if the Oracle turns up is you grab all of your workers and you run as fast as you can. Oracle is faster than workers, so it might still pick off a couple as they run, but it will not simply just be going pop, 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 pop. So that's what you do. You run them toward your army so that they can be covered by Marines as soon as possible. So one Marine in the medevac. Where's this medevac going, man? Oh no, you could lose this if you're not careful. I think what he's done, I think he's just A-clicked here, and the medevac has of course gone in a straight line. Man, this medevac, be really careful. Has Jesper not seen this? Does he not know that it's here? I don't know. You need to micro these Marines a little bit. At present, only the front ones are shooting. Move them up, move them into a useful position. You need to kill stuff. What is it that you're shooting at? Don't be shooting this pylon. Don't be shooting this pylon. It isn't shooting back. Oh, that's not good. So a very lit double overcharge. But you've got a medevac here that could have just made an awful lot of difference to the longevity of those Marines. And a little bit of micro. Make sure they're not shooting the pylon that hasn't been overcharged. That doesn't do you any good. Oh no, we'll lose this. It's not looking good for yeOldDogg here, is it? It's not. He's taken an insane pasting on it. Look, what he killed, I think it was one stalker fell at the expense of 22 Marines. I tell a lie. 21 Marines in a medevac. And additionally, that Oracle that flew in did 10 workers worth of damage. It's nasty. Okay, on the plus side, you do have an orbital command. You need to be dropping the mules on the mineral line here. An engineering bay, thank goodness. Finally, we're going to see one of these players actually, hopefully we're going to see one of these players crank out some upgrades. But in addition to that, this engineering bay will also enable the building of turrets. And a turret in the middle of the mineral line here just means that an Oracle cannot simply come in and, without the other player even looking at it, lure its way through your mineral line. So I like to see that. There is, a Nexus building for Jesper. In addition to that, the fleet beacon is done, and we've got just a bunch of pylons building. That's a weird pillow. What? Why did you put it there? That's... What? What's wrong with here? Or, I don't know, here? Or here? That's the weirdest. But look at these workers having to go around. That's surreal, man. And, okay. Anyway, it looks like we're going to see Sky Toss. And I quite like the Twilight with Sky Toss builds, because of course all the air units are pretty gas heavy, so you'll probably find you've got way more minerals than gas, because you'll run out of gas as you try and build all these air units. So what do you do with those minerals? Turn them into zealots. Twilight enables you to get the charge upgrade, so that your zealots are just twice as effective. So I don't mind that at all. The Terran player yeOldDogg in the meantime is upgrading +1 attack, and that's fine. So still, look, this orbital command, absolutely full energy. Don't forget to drop mules. They make just such a huge difference to your income, an absolutely enormous difference. Oh, okay, so we do have a turret in the mineral line, and look, no extra worker kills got. Might be able to, you could snipe that one. Might as well. Yep. Yeah, so no additional kills, so that turret absolutely invaluable. This Oracle now can just look around, make sure these guys are covered though. Look, you know the Oracle's there, you know it's there, you know it's there. No, no, don't let him get more kills, don't. An extra 5 kills, man, or 4, sorry, 4 extra kills in this mineral line. No need, just no need. Yeah, so this Oracle really at this stage best used for scouting. You know, if you do find you've got like some sort of pesky Oracle problem, or a Viking, just a single Viking is all you need to deal with it. Oracles are pretty quick and it can run away from the Viking, but what it can't do is fight it. They don't shoot up. Oracles, they're only able to shoot things on the ground. So a handful of Marines moving across the map. It's far from the entire force, it is just a handful, so I'm not really sure what these guys are going to do. If you are moving across a map like this that has watchtowers, then click the vicinity of the watchtowers to clean up any units that are parked there. I find it hard to believe that this small band of Marines can get anything done. However, defensively, I don't know about this position. You know, why aren't these units already down here? I'd much prefer that. For me, as a Protoss player, if I'm playing against Terran, you know, the bulk of my army is down here in this position, and somewhere up here I've got a handful of Stalkers, and if I've got the tech for it, a handful of Stalkers and a Templar, so that, you know, should a drop with a couple of medevacs come in, I can blink under it, or even if I don't have blink, I can feed back the medevacs to kill them, or potentially drop a storm and let the Stalkers just do the remaining damage required to pick off the units. So yeah, so that's a better defensive position now. A lot of sort of novice players make the mistake of having all of their army out the front and leaving nothing at home, and it does make them very vulnerable to things like drops. It's generally a good idea to have, you know, a couple of units sort of back at home, just to kind of, they don't necessarily have to be able to see off an attack, but what they have to be able to do is buy you enough time if an attack arrives to get the rest of your army there. That's all they're really doing. Or if it isn't a sort of severe attack, if it is simply some harass, to be able to see that off. So these Tempests flying up. Oh look, I've selected some debris. Where is the look? I like that debris is armored. Where's the debris? There it is. Armored debris, that is. These Tempests are coming round, and they are actually going to be very, very annoying. The range on them means that they can stand off a long way and do hurt to your workers, so you're going to have to pull the workers. The key to killing this is, to be honest, having stim, because if you've got stim, you can run the Marines in. Tempests move very, very slowly, so you can run the Marines in, and the way to play it is to not to A-move the Marines, but to run the Marines in under the Tempests and then A-move. So you need to get them underneath the Tempests before you start shooting. Look how annoying this is for the Terran player. These Tempests just dancing backwards and forwards, picking off one unit at a time. So frustrating. You know, if you've got stim available, then you've got a chance of catching these out. To be honest though, you know, why not dispatch 10 of these to this position so that these Tempests, you know, are a bit cornered. Is there anything that shoots in the air coming out? There doesn't appear to be. Look, move the medevacs. Get the medevacs healing these units, man. The turret won't really do you any good. Tempests outrange the turret by a long way. Neither will leaving your Marines where they can be shot. So you need to pull back from this. You need to lure the Tempests forward, and then you need to run underneath them. But you need stim. There's no two ways about it. Without stim, the Tempests can run away pretty much as quickly as these Marines can run forward. And you also need to send some units around to here. The other thing that you absolutely could and should be building to see this off would be a Cyclone. And a Thor. A Thor does good work, but you know, Tempests actually will hit Thors pretty hard. And Thors are expensive and take a long time to build, you know, whereas a couple of Cyclones, if you can divide the fire, the Tempests could actually do great work against these. Yeah. You need to get your workers to repair these, men. Get these workers repairing them. No. So, you know, these two Tempests are just having a field day. Look, this one 12 kills, 14 kills, 9 kills. That's horrible. That's so horrible. Yep. Yeah, you need to coordinate the attack. You know, push in here and push in here at the same time. But ultimately, until you've got something like cyclones, there's not much you can do about these. So your best bet is just to evacuate this area. Force the Tempests to move forward if they want to get anything done, and then get in underneath them. Oh my goodness, again, I'm just not watching the mini. Oh, I'm going to have to rewind a little bit. I'm going to have to rewind because stuff just happened that might have been important. Oh goodness. Yeah, you know, professional casters and stuff, they don't have to put up with this because they've got like you know, people that do the observing for them, don't they? Just like a different person just like looks out for them and stuff, and, you know, shows them what they should comment on. But me, I'm trying to multitask here, man. Multitasking, you know, with a head full of San Miguel is tricky. So these Marines are just going to walk into their death is what they're going to do. They're not even going to shoot anything. That's horrible to watch. What are they going to get done there? Roughly nothing. Are they? No? Oh, okay. So they got a mothership core for the trouble and might get a stalker. Might get two. Two stalkers at the cost of... Oh no. Oh no. These poor medevacs. You know, coordination. Coordination's the key. Medevacs don't shoot. They need to be above Marines. So things are beginning to look pretty bad for our Terran player. Pretty bad. This Tempest could fall, but it's not going to fall to one Marine. And these Marines look all so close to death. They desperately need a medevac. If only you had a medevac. Oh, you do. Don't forget that medevacs are able to boost. The siege tank has no place here. It cannot shoot up, so put your siege tank somewhere over here. Get all your Marines in the same place, and again, you've got to lure this Tempest forward. You can't, you know. I'm finding this a little bit frustrating. And again, you know, if you put a whole raft of Marines in this area, well, then you could, you know, it's difficult though. It's difficult. Without stim, you've got a hard time against these Tempests. It's a very hard time indeed. I think all you can do is evacuate the area. You can't hold this position. They can just park there all day long. So, you know, stop trying. Just move. Just lift up and move. Go elsewhere. About time. You've got to be careful here. You've got to focus on the weakened Tempest if you can. So we should see this one pop. There it goes. You know, the cost of a lot of Marines though, a lot of Marines. These guys need to get in here, but medevac support. And again, if you had stim, you could catch these. Oh, it's killing me, man, the lack of stim. And there isn't even a barracks with a tech lab. You can't even research stim. So more siege tanks being produced. And, you know, at current, the threat is not siege tank, is not on the ground. The threat is very much these airborne units, and siege tanks are good units, but they don't shoot up that well. Wouldn't it be pretty sweet if, you know, when they're in siege mode, the fact that they lob shells, wouldn't it be pretty sweet if they could accidentally just hit air units? You know, not specifically target them, because that would like add a skill dimension, wouldn't it? You have to target a point on the ground somewhere with your siege tanks so that the flying shells hit the things on the way. That'd be so awesome. They should totally do that. Blizzard, if you're watching, you know, and I've got a strong suspicion that Blizzard do watch my stream. If you're watching, that's what you need to do. Siege tanks need to be able to shoot up. So in siege mode, I'd be clicking over here so that the shells lob over the top of these Tempests and hit them on the way. That'd be absolutely righteous. Yeah, a Thor, you could do with a Thor. You know, Thors have a lot of range in the air. They do a lot of damage to things that are flying. So build a Thor. Don't send your siege tank around there. Build a Thor, build some Cyclones, build, you know, even some Vikings. because Vikings can chase them, and Vikings actually have got an obscene range themselves. So, you know, with SCVs under the Vikings repairing them in this sort of area, Vikings could do a great job here. It's not that many Tempests, it's only 3 of them. Uh-oh. Yeah, you know, I don't know, yeOldDogg has to be thinking that this is like, that these units are broken really, but they're not. Terran has the answer to these units. It's just that that answer is not Marines that don't have stim. You know, you've tried Marines that don't have stim, maybe it's time to try something different. At present, yeOldDogg not building anything. They're building another barracks, but it isn't Marines that you need. It's very much Vikings, or, you know, a Raven. Even Seeker missiles could help with this, or a Thor, although you would need to build an armory first, but Cyclones would be brilliant, or Stim for these Marines to make them more effective. I don't know, any of that stuff. Like, this siege tank is on its way to look at the Tempests and just kind of go, hey Tempests, do you want to shoot me clean in the face? Do you want to shoot me? I'll lob a shell over your head and it might land on you if you're not careful. Oh no, you've shot me. So, you know, there's definitely some key errors happening here that we're witnessing. I like this. Just want to mention it. Oh my goodness, well, that was another key error, wasn't it? Those Tempests have somehow died to Marines that don't go any faster than them. So let's see if the Marines can now dance backwards and forwards and slowly get whittled away against these 3 Tempests. Meanwhile, I can only imagine that the Protoss is dancing around the map at home and building just a death ball. Nope. No. Just building more Tempests. Yeah. Just to go and be, you know, even more annoying. So yeOldDogg, until you build something that combats Tempests, you are going to simply be worn down and lose this game, because, you know, your Marines don't have stim, can't catch them. I give up. It's not. There's no more to say really, is there? Should we speed this up? And watch the slow decline of the Terran at twice the speed that it should have. That went well. Yeah, like you know, the Protoss isn't even building anything at this stage. He's just accumulating or something. More barracks are coming down, but you know, I don't know, man. Okay, now this could work. A big Marine sandwich. Are they attacking? No, they're walking. No, it could have been a sandwich, but you weren't even attacking. Now look at the positioning here. This is great for the Terran, absolutely great. But everything needs to attack. Everything. You know, if only these guys had stim. Just this whole game would be so different with a little bit of stim. I'm not really sure why he didn't chase there. You've got a lot of Marines. Yeah. So maybe this is going to be the do or die push. In he goes into this base, focused on the Nexus. If nothing's coming to kill you, why not? I'd run away at this point. You've killed the Nexus, I would just run. I think though you can probably kill all these Stalkers, which is nice. And then just run, kill all the workers and stuff. Kill everything. There's more Marines being built. There's 7 in production. This is more like it, yeOldDogg. If you can't beat the Tempests that are kind of messing with you at home, march across the map and kill stuff. So I quite like this. As a response, best form of defense is offense. You know, just but you do need to micro these Marines a bit. Look how many of them aren't shooting. You know, move them as far forward as you can. Make sure that as many of them are engaged as can possibly be engaged. Right, in you go. Get up in the fit. You know, still lots of them not shooting. You need to move them forward, then shoot. Move them forward, then shoot. Move them forward, then shoot. At present, this is a bit horrible. These Tempests are going to hold this, you know, for no other reason than these Marines just aren't being microed at all. So look, you know, they're sharing the damage output between the Tempests even. It's not nice. Yeah, you know, and you'd forgive yeOldDogg really at this stage for just thinking that Tempests are broken, but you're not doing the right things against them, yeOldDogg. You're not doing the right things against these Tempests. You know, back in the day, you had a bunch of money, you had a starboard. Why didn't you build some Vikings? You know, why didn't you just build a whole bunch of Vikings to shoot these Tempests? Why didn't you build a Thor to shoot the Tempests? Why didn't you build a Cyclone to shoot the Tempest? And why did you not research Stim, given that you have a very Marine heavy build? You know, Stim is absolutely critical outfit. However, you know, let's not worry too much about that. Lots of racks coming down, but I don't think ultimately it's going to matter. If I was to check the army supply tab, I would find that it's pretty horrific. If I check the workers kill tab, I find, oh god, yeah. So I think we're done here. Let's be very surprised if there's any more significant plays in this game. There's a bunch of Marines here, but look at this Tempest fleet is and here, you know, it's a lot of scanning. Let's take a quick peek in the units tab. There are 15 Tempests on the map, 27 Marines. You know, so any sort of engagement that happens between the two armies is not going to go very well for the Terran. Not very well at all. The Tempests with +1 attack. Because why wouldn't you? Oh, that's not the way to use Zealots though, I'll tell you that for free. These Stalkers will fall, but you know, Stalkers aren't really your problem. It's all these flying things. You need to focus them down one at a time. Focus on the weak one. You're sharing out the damage. Don't share the damage. Kill one at a time. Kill. But it's not going to happen. There is, you know, literally nothing that the Terran can do at this stage to win this game. Well, it was a bit miserable to watch in the end. It was a bit miserable to watch, and I'm sure it felt pretty miserable for yeOldDogg. But, you know, GG.